All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well. Paulie, Kanini, Mr. Mustang, Marlon, everybody hanging out in the background. Come on in, say hello. Marlon, I have to agree. I've gone through the charts this morning already, and I've started taking a look. What are you looking at, Marlon, as far as assessment of what to look for today? John, good morning. Personally, I'm seeing peak formation low on Tuesday, first green day, and a higher high yesterday on Wednesday. And now it is today, Thursday, and we've got the previous week's high, and also we're consolidated just below the high of the current week. So I'd be interested to see And also on the day today, we've been pulling back in kind of a three push pattern into the low of the day, which of course could just be the beginning of the collapse. We've got three peaks to the high. So thinking about both sides of the trade. No, I know, Mustang. I'm just running my mouth before we even get going here. US 30 inside bar. Gold is breakout day. I don't even know how many now. But we triggered the low today, the previous day's low. Which could be a reset, or it could also be the beginning of a 3-day template. Oil was breakout day one yesterday. It's already broken out today. Bottom of the box becoming the top of the box. Only thing with oil is there's inventories, so I'm probably going to avoid that one. Russell was an inside bar yesterday as well. Very coiled for today. But almost as importantly as being able to identify the day, what is the day telling us? What does it really mean? How do we simplify? All right, I gotta sit up straight in my chair. Are you streaming or just talking today? Oh my goodness. We're just doing the intro, Change Your Life. I'm just letting people flow in. We're going to get started right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, I hope you are doing well. And we're going to start out on the NASDAQ as soon as I let you all know that I'm not a financial advisor. The information on this channel is provided for informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind. It could be words of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Please read this. Everybody read it, I'm sure. All right, great. Okay, NASDAQ. Beginning of the week, opening range. They had a breakout. Breakout has failed. They put in basically a low. All right. What is that really telling us? Not much. It's a failed breakout at the low of the current week, which can reset the 3-day cycle, sure. Typically with the 3-day cycle, that detail is telling us to look for a move away from the peak formation. Does that necessarily mean we have to take a trade on this day? No, I prefer to wait for signal days. And I even said yesterday in yesterday's stream, if today turns into a first green day, that would make sense. And it did. So we had a day that put in a peak formation low. Then we have a day that has opened, tried to go back down, failed to do so, and closed higher, giving us a first green day. And they even gave us the higher high back up on the inside of the current week's range. This is also a higher high on the inside of the previous week's range. Okay. So what will I be looking for today? Based off of the details that the market has provided to me and yet how yesterday has closed, and then how we have this higher high in the market, I'm going to look for a long trade. Okay. On the day today, we have also came up and triggered previous day's high and made a higher high. So now what do I need to look at? What becomes important? I've got the low of the day. I've got the previous day's close. We've made the higher high. We've started to come back down once and twice, maybe a third time. I need to look for an explosive breakout back up towards the upside, okay? If I don't get that, this could turn into maybe a high of week reversal coming off the high of the week. It is Thursday, and we have been making lower lows up until this point, so we'll see. All dolled up. That low in reversal on NQ was a daily. Yeah, I don't know about that. All right, let's go to US 30. So we had an inside bar on Wednesday. Previous day's high and low is in place. This is either going to turn into an expansion or a reversal. So what I mean by that is, and why I've circled these two levels, is because I wait for them to get there. I like to wait for them to get there, trigger one of them, and it turns into the market's only going to do three things. It's going to break out and pull back, give me a template to trend, and that would turn into a range expansion of the day. Or price moves in a certain way, maybe three pushes, maybe it gets choppy, maybe it goes up, triggers the high, and then fails, and that's where I can get my reversal trade back down to the other side of the range. Either the other side of the range or maybe the low of the day. We got a trade coming off the high of the day. Minimum target should be low of day. Okay, that is my thesis for US 30. If neither of those things really presents, then obviously I will not be taking them. Okay, gold. We had a breakout day. I don't know how many. We've been going up. Market go up. All right, the market's been going up. We've triggered the low down here, which could be the beginning of, maybe a 3-day template. We got a peak high in place. Now we have a low in place. We've came back up. We broke out of this 1-bar range, and we came up a few more times. So what does this detail actually tell me? Well, it tells me that either this is a reset of the low, so they're going to, remember, anytime they go back, we've been going up, 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 and away. Anytime they go back to one side, they usually will go back in either the form of a lower high for a continuation down, or it will go back to the high. The high will fail and will go down. Or this is a confirmed reset. They break back out of the high, they pull back, and then they continue to go higher, and the market will continue to trend. Okay, so what I'm saying is now, gotta get rid of that. This detail has told me exactly what to look for in the form of either a lower high being put in at the high of the current day. It could be a lower high being put in place at the high of the session. We're going back to retest the low, something like that. Or this is actually going to go back towards the high, and it would turn into a bit of a trend trade in which I'd probably just ignore it. Okay. All right, I'll wait for a first red day or something like that. Breakout day one in the opposite direction before getting in. Yeah, still risky to be shorting. I 110% agree. This is a very strong move. There's a good chance this is just a reset and they're going to keep going. There's a very good chance of that. So all of these words that I'm speaking right now about what could happen, it is just for my own, internal dialogue that I would normally be listening to. But I'm speaking it out loud into an existence where, these are the things that could be happening. If one of these scenarios were to happen, I'll take it. If it just continues to go up, I'm going to ignore it. Okay, like I said, the Russell is a inside bar. We had a breakout day on Tuesday. Inside bar yesterday on Wednesday. And then now today, continuing to press up, up, up. Is it going to make it back to the high? Is it going to be a breakout? We're just kind of consolidating in the middle. See, Florian said, I would say lower low on inside and now retest for follow lower. But let's see. Yeah. Yep, I'm there with you, Florian. We have some waiting to do. And it could even be, like I said, it could be a part of a 3-day template. It could be, we put in a high. Now we've came down on a Thursday and put in a low. We're in an opening range breakout. Maybe peak high, peak low. And then tomorrow, off of news, maybe we see the move. Hey, good morning, Joseph. All right, so trying to think ahead, trying to plan. Oil. I'm not really too fond of oil right now just because I think the setup could have been or should have been from the breakout level. I really like how this is consolidated. That's very clean. They've penned up. They've penned down. That's not very clean. I don't like that. But what I will say is we have inventories today on oil. So I'm probably just going to avoid this. Okay. If you look, we had a lower low put in place right here. Yep. So this is the high somewhere over here. I think those inventories are actually at 11 today, which is unusual, but. Okay, 9:27. We've got 3 minutes to the open. We do have news at 10 today as well. And I think that's just the, let's see. Yeah, services, PMI. So let's get this bad boy up here. We got NASDAQ top left. I feel good about that one. We've also triggered previous week's levels on the NASDAQ, so that automatically for the week makes this a little bit better to me. US 30 had an inside bar, although I do think I like the Russell a little bit more. Yeah, Marlon, I agree. And then I think gold is, a solid thesis. We just have some things to wait for and see if it plays out. Right now, to be honest, it kind of just looks like we have a peak high and a peak low, and we have consolidation and a breakout. Level 1, breakout level 2. We could be about to squeeze higher. We might be seeing a little bit of an accelerated curve here. Oil's got news at 11, so I'm going to have to wait on that. But I'm going to put the Russell up here. And after all of this being said, I know pretty much this entire week I've just said the same thing. I have very low expectations. We have NFP tomorrow. Not looking to do damage before NFP. Because usually NFP, the whole week is going to be set up for NFP. We just have to survive until Friday. And if there's no setup on Friday, then we just go a whole week without having a large setup. And then we go to Monday, and we should go back to our scheduled programming next week. A lot of manipulation this week. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And you can just look at the chart and tell. Like, it's very low volume. Everything feels like it's maybe not necessarily consolidating because it is moving, but nothing feels real. It'll move through a level or break out of a level and then consolidate immediately. Everything just feels very strange, so. All right, NQ pumping up 1 minute before the open. We just got an engulfment. I'm looking at the 1 minute chart now. And like I said, we do have news at 10. I have not entered. I have no orders in. In queue, they already prepared money with equal lows at previous day's low. You saying like over here? Yeah, maybe. Maybe go back for the money, but I'm gonna follow the template, and I'm gonna see if that bad boy plays out. Okay, I just scalped a 10-point rip. That was pretty good. All right, padding the day, padding my position. I'm gonna wait and see if this confirms more. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. It might leave without me. I may have. So I had got in, and then I closed at 10 points profit, and I was gonna pad my position and scale in, and it went parabolic instead. Text in your screen is very blurry. I don't know if I can fix that. Is it blurry for everybody? Or am I having internet issues? All right, we're into the second 5 minutes now. Mr. Mustang said he's done. He's caught it to the high of the day. That is phenomenal. Ripping before the news is suspect. I have to agree. I do have to agree. I like 23,430. Yeah, so they've gone 3 peaks of the high. I'd like to see, maybe this little retracement right here, if it continues, like if we get a 1 minute engulfment to go higher, maybe looking at an expansion. But this pullback is pretty deep right now. Would have been nice to just see the second 5 minute bar continue to expand aggressively. Yeah, it's a pretty deep pullback on an explosive move like that. So basically, it bumped its head for the third time on this level and is now failing to go higher. What is the market telling me? Because I've seen this exact same setup, and then it just goes absolutely parabolic afterwards, right? It just continues to run. Which is fine. I've now done well just off my little 10-point rip, but yeah, Joanne, you might have to. There's a setting for the quality. You might have to turn the quality up. It does say that I have excellent connection. Hey, I appreciate that. I don't think I've seen you here before, so it's good to have you here. I stream every day. For everybody here that's maybe new, you're just been lurking in the background. Feel free to come in and say hello, get acquainted. Pretty much the same people in here every single day, which is awesome because we all just trade together every day and it's an enjoyable, good time. Does anybody feel like they've gotten better since I've started doing these streams? Like you're behaving better, like your trading has been better, your emotions have been easier to control. And please don't just say yes if you just because I asked, but yes, your voice. I had someone the other day. They said, "Cam, you should apply to be a voice actor." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know all about all that." Third week green in a row. It's never happened before. I like to hear that. I will caution, caution, caution. Winning streaks are some of the most dangerous times ever. when you go on a long winning streak? When you go on a winning streak, something psychologically happens. You start to feel invincible. You stop taking things that are perfect. And you tend to accept mediocre setups instead of whatever, because you feel like you're, nothing bad can happen to you. And then you start to spiral whenever something bad does happen. So I wouldn't maybe consciously think about that, but just continue to consciously, only take the best trades. Being patient together, heck yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see, 941. Look at this. What is this telling us? Oh boy. You were shouted at. Why were you shouted at? I think I saw Lilit. I'm going to mispronounce your name 100%, so please excuse my American self. Lilit. If you can explain or suggest any of your video explaining open, high, low, close logic. I think probably the videos that I have about like traps, those are probably the ones that are going to talk about open, high, low, close. Let me see if I can explain it now. You're here right now. I might as well just explain it. All right. Because the market moves in threes, and we can all agree that it moves in threes, although the three pushes may be subjective, it has all been fairly, over time explained that the market tends to move in threes. And threes is a psychological number. On the first drive outside of a pivot, that's usually going to be the first push, and it's the most obvious. All right, so market's been going down. We've had a higher high put in place, something like that. Let me do this. Market's been going down. We've made the higher high. And then when it starts to come back down, because anytime the market makes a higher high after it's been going down, it has got to come back down and retest the low some way, shape, or form. Either in the shape of a higher low, or it'll come down and make a lower low. That lower low will then fail, and it'll go back up, okay? And that's only if the market is going to reverse and to go back up. It could break back down and keep going, all right? The idea behind this is whenever there's a very obvious, let's say that we have a series of bars that were fairly or relatively small, and then all of a sudden you start getting these big, driving, explosive moves down. All right, these are grabbing my attention once, twice. At the second time something happens, you're more likely to take action. So this would be me selling at this point, another trader, right? This is another trader selling. And if it happens 3 times, surely everyone is on board. So now they're getting in at the worst possible place in the chart. And they're getting in at the close, all right? Whenever the bar is really strong in the downwards direction, we have people selling at that area of the chart. And that's how I use it. I look at the 3 pushes. I have a belief that there are people trapped in push 2 and push 3. I look for evidence that those people are trapped. Like, for example, right now, they could still be trapped. And that's how I use it. I know that sounds probably very complicated, but just, for example, if I'm looking at these bars, and let's say that we've broken a high, we broke a high here, and we started to pull back right here. So I've got 1. And then they tried again over here. So maybe I got 2. And then they tried one more time over here with a larger bar, and this is 3. And obviously this is just a very small pullback. But then they broke out and then they failed to go lower. So maybe, you know, there's evidence that they're going to trap the shorts and continue trapping the shorts. And then whenever things start to flip around, I do the exact same thing to help me stay out of trades or to keep myself from getting into something. Hey, I want to go long, but they just started allowing shorts to make money. Well, that's not good. Anyways. Yeah, just hang around here a little bit. Like I said, I do these every single day. And I feel like I say the exact same things every single day. And then I'd like to think that I'm pretty consistent in the things that I'm doing. Obviously, over time, I make small adjustments here and there, but the overall thinking has remained the exact same for years. And I like to run my mouth. I like to hear myself talk, apparently. So I'll be in here just talking about this and that every single day. 9:47. We've got less than 15 to the news. I am staying out of everything. Yeah, we are definitely seeing some coils. And now we have triggered levels on not the Russell. The Russell is definitely coiling for something. But US 30 has now gone up and triggered a level. Yeah. Yep, and they've gone once, twice, 3 times now at the higher high here. Which, they could absolutely still squeeze higher, and if they were to go up a third or a fourth time now, I'd probably say it's time to get in, especially if it was like a really strong, crazy breakout. But now it kind of just looks like the opposite. It kind of looks like this was a trap, like a bull trap, right? And maybe this is actually a pump for a dump over 3 days. And I don't know that for sure. Okay, I'm just keeping my options open as far as what the setup could look like. Because if this is a pump for a dump at over 3 days, that's a much better setup than what I'm looking for. Yeah, we all take things in differently, and I've got I try to explain the exact same concept over and over again, slightly different, and you'll notice that in my videos. I explain the exact same thing using different methodologies, but it's all the same stuff to reach more people because everyone has started with a different background, and they explain it. They understand it differently in different ways. So if I can explain the exact same thing multiple ways, surely one of those ways will catch on. $9.50. We've got 10 minutes to this news. And I have a feeling with how tightly coiled things are, this news is going to whip. The news could either complete the pattern, which would be great. I would look for a first bounce, or it's just going to absolutely whip back and forth. I'm going to skip these ads for you all so you don't have to endure a paper towel commercial or, buy a Netflix subscription ad or something like that. Well, we've got 10 minutes. How are y'all doing? I feel much more energetic this morning. Yesterday I was a little tired. Yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me that, Marlon. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's really good. Obviously, I learned from him as well. I was a silent mentee. But it's not very, I think he's very underrated channel because there's really no other trading channel on YouTube that consistently puts out that professional of a of a content. He's a very, very professional, in my opinion, very professional style of trading. It's not niche. It's not a niche style. It's really just how trading should be, in my opinion. There's nothing new under the sun. Things are going to continue moving the same way. Things are always going to break out, pullback trend, breakout, pullback, reverse, or stay in the trading range. Nothing complicated about that. And then you just toss in a few little understandings about how the market moves, like it moves in threes. If you truly understand how the market moves, like for example, in my little boot camp, and this is not an ad to try and get you all to go and do whatever with it. I don't really care if you do or don't. But I try to explain things in there from a perspective of, start here. Start in phase one. Phase one is like, you just need to know how the market moves. You need to understand why things happen the way that they do. And then once we get out of phase one, we can start going into the actual setups and things like that. Because if you don't understand how the setups have built or why they've built, market's been going down for three legs or 3 days, and then you get a failed breakout in a first green day. Why is that setup important? Why was this created this way, and how should it be traded? An inside bar, why is an inside bar relevant? Does it matter if there was a breakout prior to the inside bar being created? Absolutely. An inside bar being created after 3 weeks of rise, and the market has created this and it turned into a first red day, and that's very different than we have a strong rally off a low and a breakout and then an inside bar, which could lead to a 3-day trending template. There's a lot of little nuances, but it's not complicated once you understand why setups are created or how they're created. For example, market go up. That's why I try to put it in these little caveman terms, right? Market go up. Market trigger other side. Market feel like it has to go back up. Market can't make it. And you get a 3-day template, right? You get a high that's put in place day one, day two, or maybe the rally was day one, and then you have the first red day two, and then on day three you get the follow through. That's why I explain the things this way, because it's just understanding how and why the templates are being formed and which ones tend to be the best. And then once you figure those things out, it's like, okay, I just have to sit here and wait. All right, well, what's my entry criteria going to be? How do I get in? When do I choose to get in? Well, mine's pretty simple. On the day, we make lower low. I look for retracement. I look for continuation. On continuation, I get in. And then I have little nuances for that. Okay, it could come in 3 pushes. Maybe it's a 1 bar breakdown and the bar goes sideways and I sell the break. There's little nuances, but there's never large changes of the theme. And you just have to remember very small little nuances and study what those things look like. I've just removed every indicator. Oh my goodness. There we go. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all. means you take entry at follow-up. Yeah. I don't usually take the first engulfment. I always look for the breakdown or breakout. Market goes sideways, some way, shape, or form, whether that be in the form of a breakout, fake out bar. So let's say that the market has capitulated, and that was like the engulfment. And then you get a 1 bar breakout, fake out. So it tries to go back up for 1 bar, and then the next bar comes straight back down and takes out the low of that bar and closes lower. That's one of the entries that I look for. So that's good stuff, you know. All right, 9:56. We've got 4 minutes to the open, or not to the open, but to the news. We're gonna see. MNQs came back down and spiked down 3 times. And we just got an engulfment back up to the upside. We had a down close bar followed by the next bar breaking out to the upside. Oh, that's funny, Florian. You and I literally just went and started talking about the same thing. Spike into the low, spike into the low, spike into the low. Breakout. News in 3 minutes. Still risky. Yeah. I almost kind of like US 30 as well because we're starting to get a bit of a squeeze over here. They've made the higher high. They've triggered previous day's high. It's an inside bar. Are we going to see an expansion of the range on a Thursday? Maybe. Maybe it's an explosive breakout and a reversal on NFP, or maybe NFP is a continuation back towards the high of the month, high of the week, something like that, or high of previous week. Let me go back to the 1 hour here so I can get a bigger view. Now, see, that's a little interesting. We got spikes into the low, spikes into the low. We'll call it, resistance up here. We got a pretty big coil. Looks like US 30 has been in breakout to the upside as well. Last week did trigger previous, actually this is this week, excuse me. We've triggered previous week's low, but it could just be a reset, of course. Or at the very least, after triggering the previous week's low, maybe we need to go back and try and get to the high. Maybe we need to go and put in a lower high. But that's pretty far away. At the very least, the levels have been triggered. And I can work with that. Got to see what the news does. Yeah, all of this talking right now has just been speculation at this point. 1 minute to the news, we should see the spread start to open. I like to watch it on the 1 minute just because it's fun. It's always fun whenever the news comes out and you see some crazy big candle spike. I don't know, I'm weird. Spread opened a lot. News. Nothing. Look at that coil. Spiked down, spiked up, consolidations, coiling sideways on the Russell. Oh, is this going to turn into like a little breakout fake out? Are we doing a little descending triangle action? Yeah, I'm not really willing to do that. I'm not really willing to take that short, if I'm being honest. But I also don't want to get sucked into a long. US 30 breaking out. Come on, NASDAQ. Show me something. Show me something. Yep, 15-minute timer. Maybe we'll do some trapping. Certainly no first bounce. Right? No explosive move, no first bounce. So I'm going to have to look for a different type of setup. It will not be a momentum trade. Let's see. Gold has come up and broke down. Have we started making lower lows on the day? That is pretty important to me. We could be about to make a lower low because we're kind of like working down into the low. We got a higher high here, which would result in this being the low. Yeah, Marlon, it might even be better. It might even be better just to wait for the first red. The only reason I even kind of entertaining it is because they broke this down here and then they consolidated and they've came up and, you know, potentially 3 peaks. We've been going up, so maybe they're going to come back down for the retest of the low, which would be at the low of the day or the previous day's low. I'm going to wait for a break and see, or if it breaks. You know, it might not even break. NQ 3 peaks. See, Monday's close. Monday's close is right here. Yeah. 3 peaks in trap volume. And it looks like maybe we just came down and made a lower low. It would have to close lower. Ice, I don't know what... You're killing me. Right, you're saying parasail? Oh, you're... Is it going... I don't know what that means. I'm trying to interpret. Am I supposed to glide this candle down? Is that what's happening? Here we go. This is the best trade setup you've ever seen right here. There we go. Be on the lookout. All right, we've broken down. We're going to go sideways. Gold is also broken down, which is strange. Going to walk this fat dog. Guys. Oh, jeez. Nice, Mr. Mustang. Good deal. $10:06. So we're almost halfway through a 15-minute bar. We are now at the low of the day. Maybe this is a first green day trap. Maybe this is a first green day trap, and we're at the closing price. Took gold for a quick poop up. Paulie, I'm not really sure what that means. I hope everything's okay, though. I know. I'm just messing with you. I kid. US 30 failed breakout. Yeah, maybe. The highest close in the move right here. So this bar is the most relevant. Get the low of that bar, looking for a breakout maybe. $65 people in here right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you could do me a huge favor, like the stream. If you even remotely enjoy doing these, it helps the stream. It'll help the stream grow. I do appreciate it. Got that one scalp on NASDAQ. And to be fair, that's more than I expected for the day. Appreciate that, Lilith. No, it doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me who. Oh my gosh, the stream only has 5 likes on it? Dang, that hurts. It's okay. I understand. I understand. We're at 37 now. Nice. I appreciate that. Change your life. And yeah, I mean, trading is trading, right? You could even apply these concepts in theory, right? I've never done it. I don't know anybody that does. You could even apply these concepts to a longer time frame and swing trade the stuff. Right? Market's fractal. You know, you don't have to trade this exact way. You might even have, you know, slight variations of the way that you like to enter and exit and things like that. And you know what? Heck yeah. I'm all about it. It's just nice to have a group for sure to, chit chat with, bounce ideas, or at the very least, goof off when things are slow. So US 30 closed that bar right at the close. And they also closed above the trap. I would have really liked to have seen a stronger push down to start letting those people out. I don't really feel comfortable getting in. They closed that bad boy right above where the previous trap had been. They made a higher high, they triggered the high, and then they pulled it back. Good stuff, 3 Spot. Good to have you here. Seeing a lot of new people in here lately. It's awesome. Still choppy, yep. No breakouts, no strong. Oh, this looks a little insane. If I'm being completely honest, that looks a little crazy. Are we about to get a V-bottom reversal? Oh boy, I suck at V-bottom reversals. I am not good with V-bottoms. I just don't ever have the confidence. This would be a V-bottom off the low of the day as well. Stay flat, yeah. I know that's a weakness of mine. Like I'm very self-aware of that fact. I always just let it go. I mean, not to mention, like, what is that? What is that? Looks like I just walked into a kindergarten class and this is what they were drawing, you know? We got the market makers out here, doing arts and crafts. All right. I don't know if that's a V bottom. I think that's called whipsaw. I don't know if I think that's I'm going to consider that whipsaw, not a V bottom. Account liquidation price action. Yeah. Market don't know caveman voice. Market go up. Market go down. Market whipsaw. It's a triple stack W formation geometric twirly. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt what it is. I saw it. I saw it, so surely it must be true. I seen it. All right, I'm short NQ with a small position. Looking for 50 points. Let's see if it gives it to me. Okay, reason being, we made a lower low. We broke down. We pulled back for a bar. We tried to go back up. We failed to go higher. We've got a coil under the EMA. We're going to look at low of day minus 50. I'm going to look for an expansion of the day back down towards the downside. If I get smoked here immediately, very well. But it's a setup, so I'm going to take it. All right, I moved on the break. Actually, I'm going to have to show you how I got in. At about 20 points, I took off some of my position, and I'm going to let the rest go till completion, but just in case. Because I still have a very odd feeling about what's going on. We break below this bar and close, I'm going to break even just on this one last position. We break below this bar and close, I'm going to break even. Yeah, it is. So they broke the low again and they just immediately stopped. I'm not really a fan. I've got a 20-point stop on it on this one last position. I was in 4 micros, so not exactly big anyways. I took off 3 at 20 points, and I'm going to get stopped out for 1 at 20 points, more than likely. All right, there we go. I cut it at 20. In that case, Paulie, because the position was so small, I just got in with 4. Yeah, 4 micros is pretty small, so I sometimes I will just get in with 1 just as a test. But in that case, I just got in normal size. Not normal, but the size that I wanted to go to. And I got in with micros, 1, because the setup is there, and I think it was a good trade. It's supposed to behave a certain way. This type of setup, when we see it, this is a 3-day pump for a dump, and that's trap volume above closing price. It's supposed to be fast. It's supposed to dump very strong and very aggressively, and it didn't do that. And it's not doing that. So I took profits a little bit and got in small, and also realizing, how big this range. And we got NFP tomorrow. It just felt very weird. All right. It felt very weird. So I used my intuition, if you will, my discretion, and traded it accordingly. I think it worked out just fine. I'm going to end up slightly green for the day. Only a few $100. Heck yeah. It's awesome, Marlon. It's all relative. So some people, if you only have a a $50 or $100 account, $19 is a phenomenal day. It's all relative. I don't know if I trust this either. We got push 1, pause, push 2, pause. We got the lower low. Are we going to get push 3, or is this the coil underneath? Are we going to get the strong expansion back down? I don't know if I trust it. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's NFP. Normally this pattern looks really good. Everything kind of just, look at this. We got a amount of 5. This broke down, went sideways. We need to get the, was it Star Trek? You guys, I get the trap. That's what it's feeling like right now. It's a trap. Low of the day prior to the session beginning. Higher high. Retest of the low. Breakout that has now potentially failed at the low of the day. $10.24. Yesterday was first green day. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of NFP weeks. I'm going to wait for this. If this bar breaks out of this bar's high and closes, this is a double bottom at the low of the day. This is a peak formation essentially at the low of the day. We have the higher high. They broke down and failed to go lower. Ah, geez, they didn't make it. That's clean. Look at this. I have no orders in. I have not entered anything. I'm only observing right now. Because we've got the breakout, right? So they've allowed longs now to start making money again. This is a pretty deep retracement, but it could be a part of the squeeze. Bit of a 1, 2, 3 back to the high of the day. But the overall thesis would have to be we're broken out. If we pull back, are we going to get the expansion? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna cut it here. I am gonna leave, and we will come back tomorrow for NFP. Really nothing too exciting today. Nothing that I would deem perfect, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Slightly green for the day. I'm good with that. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, ready to go, ready to trade. See you there.